All right, hot topic here on a Monday. Again, we're talking about Vermont Green winning the USL 2 National Championship. They beat Ballard FC 2-1 in Burlington, Vermont. More than 5,000 people, it seems, were on hand. I believe Bernie Sanders was one of those people. Lots of excitement in Burlington for this team. And as I was discussing there in the long ball segment, it is one thing to be a short season amateur outfit using college players when they need to be playing games, when they need the experience. It's one thing to be at that level. And again, to sort of be very accessible to a community like Burlington and to be a pro team. Those are different things. Those are completely different outlooks for a club. Some clubs have managed that transition. Detroit City FC is one. We talked about them. Chattanooga FC is another, certainly worth mentioning. And we're watching as USL League One makes accessibility to professional soccer a little easier as they bring that bar that you need to clear to become pro down a bit. We're seeing some USL League Two outfits think about moving up. Some of them always had the plan, right? Some of them were always trying to get to that professional level and maybe started out life in USL in USL League Two just to kind of get their feet wet, right? There are a couple of examples of that, I think, around the country. Teams that are always kind of been arguing, this is our runway. There are other teams that have been in USL League Two for a while or, sort of built something already that are thinking, all right, we want to go pro. USL League One gives us an opportunity to do that, right? And again, this is what is important for USL, to make sure those teams are going to succeed when they make that jump, right? You don't willy-nilly hand out USL League One franchises and say, all right, sink or swim, guys, because ultimately you damage your brand if you've got teams that are collapsing after they go pro, right? So you don't want to see that. You want to see teams be able to make that leap and do it successfully, right? You don't. And this is, again, we talk about the number of dead American soccer teams. If you want one reason, like if you're looking for one, if you want to be reductive and bring it down to one reason why promotion and relegation does not have or did not have more support behind it from established soccer leagues, and now we are watching USL make moves in that direction, all right? We talked about why now when some of the elements that are part of this. But if you want one reason why Pro Rel has been so long in coming, it's because clubs died so often, because so many clubs failed. If every club that started life in American soccer survived, at this point, the map would be completely dotted with teams. Like, we wouldn't have to be building out leagues. They would have been built out. But so many clubs came and went that it has created a negative feeling around the idea of launching a professional soccer team in the United States of America. So after Vermont Green wins their title, wins their national championship, again, in a short season summer league populated by college players, I see more than a handful. And some of them are from the quote-unquote usual suspects, people that I would call pro-rel zealots. I'll call them pro-rel zealots. Now, there is, I think, this is me. Look, and I've been around for a couple minutes, right? I started writing my blog in 2008 on American soccer, not just on MLS, on everything, right? I've been to USL towns. I've seen lower division soccer in America. I've talked to the owners. I've talked to the people running these clubs. Like, I've been around. I would love to see promotion and relegation happen in the United States of America. I've always been on the record as saying, I want pro-rel to happen. But it was always a question of how could it happen? And it was always a question of whether or not it would satisfy the people who have been clamoring for it, the people who do not give any thought at all to the practicalities of what it would mean, but simply want it to happen, as if it's a magic wand. And if you just wave it over American soccer and establish pro-rel, everything will be great. And I've never believed that. To me, that makes no sense. Now, I am also keenly aware that if you always have excuses why you're not going to do it, you never will. What is it they say about having kids? If you wait until you're ready, you'll never be ready. I understand that that's also a phenomenon that exists when it comes to promotion and relegation in American soccer. If we're always, oh, well, we're not quite ready. We're not quite ready. Well, we'll wait until we're ready. We'll never be ready. You'll always find some reason to think that American soccer is not ready. And I get that. And this is why I appreciate what USL is doing. It's not true, pure promotion and relegation. It's not, because it can't be, because USL is a separate business entity from Major League Soccer, which is a first division soccer league that exists in the United States of America, that spends more money than anybody else and has the bigger stadiums and all those things. And they do not want to engage with this. And you can be upset at them. You can be angry at them if you want to, and plenty of people are. Or you can do what I think a lot of us should do, which is try to take American soccer on its own terms in some cases. Maybe not in every case. Maybe in some cases, there are people who are not acting in great faith that we need to call out. Right? Those cases will occur. But why on earth, when Vermont Green gets 5,000 people out into their small stadium in Burlington, Vermont, do we have to make it about promotion and relegation? Why do we have to make it? And again, I'm not talking about even promotion and relegation in the USL mode that they are trying to install, because that's not what they're calling for. I know that's a USL club, and you could argue, well, they should be moving up to the USL. They should be moving up to USL League One, right? Don't do expansion franchises, because they don't deserve to be in the league if they haven't won their way into the league. There are clubs like Vermont Green or Ballard or name any other USL 2 team that's had success over the last couple seasons. They need to be in League One because they've won their way into League One. As if it's that simple. Again, as if it's that simple, especially in 2025, for Vermont Green to win a national championship in League Two and then next year play in League One. As if that doesn't require an investment of millions of dollars to make it happen. Never mind the fact that Vermont Green chose the league they're in, launched as an amateur outfit, has that environmental mission that is at the center of the club they want. They never mind any of that. Just the idea of, hey, they should just go up to League One and play in League One. And maybe what I need to see, what I'm hoping to see. It's not about me. What I would hope to see is that if we're going to approach this stuff, if we're going to always make it about pro-rel, that we are thinking critically about what that would mean and establish ways to make it happen that are somewhat practical. Like, if you want pro-rel to happen in America, fine, that's great. But don't imagine that you just open everything up and there's a open pyramid and everything is great. Because that's not where we are right now. Now, okay, Riverside Grove. Promotion relegation doesn't require you to promote. If you don't meet the requirements, then you don't promote. I don't know that that's an ideal situation in American soccer to be, or any league, to be like, okay, we're opening it up. You can be promoted if you are ready. If you meet the standards, right? By the way, who's setting the standards? Do we want U.S. Soccer setting the standards? Because that's PLS. Lots of people have issues with those. We want, in this case, USL setting the standards. Again, if you want a true connected pyramid, it has to be U.S. Soccer, or it has to be a body that operates like U.S. Soccer, which is independent of the leagues themselves, because in this country, the leagues are independent businesses who don't have to interact with one another unless you mandate it, at which point you end up in court. See how complicated this is? And that's where we're at. So again, I would rather people be creative and find ways to make this work. And again, I don't want it to be like, well, we have pro-rel, but that team can't go up because their stadium is 1,000 people too small. Or they can't go up because they have an environmental mission and this would expand their carbon footprint and they're going to stay where they are. Because we just end up with a bunch of teams winning their league and then not going up. And effectively, it would be the same as it is now. Now, I don't know. Again, everything is so complicated when it comes to the way we do this that maybe the right move is to just simplify. I still wonder who the power is that's supposed to do that. But more than anything, again, I just wanted to bring this up. Let Vermont Green be Vermont Green. Let them be happy for what they've achieved. Let them celebrate what that club means to Burlington and to Vermont without using them as fuel for your particular argument, without making it about your hobby horse, which in this case is promotion and relegation. Right? You are not celebrating Vermont Green and what they are and what they can be And you're not letting American soccer grow in ways that will be beneficial to everyone involved if you are looking at Vermont Green and going, in a proper football country, they'd be promoted to the next league up. That's not celebrating Vermont Green. That's making it about your issue. Do you know what people in Vermont are thinking? Yay, we're national champions. There might be a handful that are like, it'd be great if we got promoted. It'd be great if we were going up to League One. I would imagine that lots of those fans that were at that stadium watching their team win a national championship understand that their team probably can't make the jump to a professional league like it's nothing. They're probably keenly aware of that. Like at some point, you have to just let these teams be what they are because they want to be what they are, because their communities want them to be what they are. If the idea is we should open up the pyramid to give access to teams if they want to make the jump, okay, that's a different argument. And you're just talking about right and wrong. What's in your head as this is right, this is wrong. That's how you view the world. But that's not how it works when you're trying to create a system for a country of 350 million people with a geographic footprint like the United States of America. Here is an interesting thing. And yeah, I would agree with this too on some level. We aren't a proper football country and likely never will be. Let people enjoy things. Now, the follow-up there is what Andy says. No such thing as proper. How about that for an idea? How about we just accept that American soccer is different than whatever your prototypical soccer country might be, because there are many and they do it differently. All of them are doing things in a completely unique way. All right. That's the rant for today. We don't have to do any more of that. Shout out to everybody in the chat. If you got thoughts on this, again, we can talk about Pro-Rel, and we will talk about Pro-Rel, and we have talked about Pro-Rel. But man, it doesn't have to always be about promotion and relegation in the United States of America. When we talk about teams like Vermont Green, it can be about their success, their unique thing that they have going on there. That for them isn't about being promoted. It's about winning the championship they just won. That's all it's about. Celebrating their community, being content with that. One more comment. I said this on my Blue Sky account, which is davisjason.bsky.social, if you want to follow me there. I've been on YouTube a bit, right? I'm on YouTube. I'm looking through my algo is giving me stuff, and I'm a soccer guy. So what do I get? I get soccer stuff. And I get stuff like with titles. I don't think this is exactly the title. I'm paraphrasing it. Why this fourth division team is MLS's worst nightmare. Guys, you don't have to make that content. I would suggest you not phrase it that way. You can talk about Vermont. You can talk about Annapolis. You can talk about whoever you want. Celebrate them for what they are. Maybe don't make it about the soccer wars all the time. I mean, and first of all, that's not a thing. Major League Soccer is a different kettle of fish. If you don't want to like Major League Soccer, that's your choice. Absolutely. You're allowed to not like MLS, but maybe don't make Vermont or any other amateur team success about MLS. Oh, man. There is it's really hard for me not to think that Vermont Green and any other amateur team that's getting thousands of people out, or any other lower division team that's getting thousands of people out, even the USL, that success in American soccer is not possible without the things that happened in the 90s, without the things Major League Soccer has done, without the attention MLS has brought to the game, generally speaking. Whether or not MLS is a success, that is a question for you. That is subjective. It's weird for me to hear people say, oh, MLS is terrible, it's a failure, when they have soccer stadiums dotting the map. When they have, they have earned an opportunity to be on Apple TV, whatever that means, right? In the moment, you can judge their decisions as right or wrong. And I know plenty of people are purists when they come to this game, and it doesn't feel like MLS is pure. That's fine. That's your choice. But again, in a unique American context, in a unique American context, it's really hard to imagine how it could have happened elsewhere or otherwise. And in that unique American context, where it's difficult to imagine it happening in a different way, the fact that MLS pulled up in its wake, I'm not giving MLS credit for USL success. I'm saying that it's all connected. The rising tide has lifted all of these boats. All right, become a member of the channel. Subscribe, first of all. Thank you very much for watching, and subscribe to Morning Kick Around, where you'll get more intense debate like this. You can also hit us up on our email at morningkickaround.gmail.com. I don't remember the order of these things I'm supposed to do them in. There's an order to all of this. You can also hit us up on our coffee page. Give us a little bit of money and help us raise cash to get out into the world and do a live show in 2026 when the World Cup is coming to these United States of America.